The best thing about sewing is you can turn anything into a cute project, including these little poo bag holders. What a great present for someone with fur babies. Start with 2 rectangles 7 inches by 5.5 inch and 2 smaller rectangles 3 by 2 inches, and attach fusible interfacing to the smaller rectangles. Then what you need to do is find the midpoint of the larger rectangles and draw a little space like this, 1 inch by 1/2 inch. It's important it is dead center. Then what you do is just right sides together, put that little bit of fabric with the interfacing on it to the back of that rectangle, and sew using a really small stitch around the outside of the rectangle. This is the same way you would make welt pockets. What you need to do is then cut through the middle line and into those corners as close as you can, and then pull through that little piece of fabric. And what you're doing is creating an internal hole on that piece of fabric. This is where the poo bags will feed through. So just kind of adjust it a little bit, give it a really good press, and then I just trimmed around that little bit of excess fabric. You want to leave a little bit there, at least 1/2 inch to 1 inch around the outside of the hole. That's important for later on when we top stitch around both layers. So now it's time to join both of the large pieces together, right sides together. Pin it like this, and then make sure you leave about a 3-inch gap along the long edge of the 2 layers. So sew around the edge and then clip those corners, and then this is really important, make sure you trim off all that extra seam allowance. This will reduce the bulk later on. This is an important step and it will make your life a lot easier. Turn it right sides out. I use a chopstick to poke out my corners really gently and give it all a good press. If you've done it properly, those 2 holes should be lining up with each other perfectly. Then you need to top stitch around those 2 little holes like this, so they're joined together now and looking fab. So the next step is optional, or you can do this in a few ways, but basically I just used a D-ring and made a little loop to attach this into that opening of the main section. So this is so you can attach it to a leash, a collar, your bag, whatever it is that is going to be practical. And then top stitched around the edge. Just be mindful it is quite thick where that loop has been inserted, so just go easy when you get to your machine. And then we're just going to fold it over so there's an overlap of about 1 inch, pin it all together, and then we just need to sew down each side again, particularly the end where the hook is. This is going to be really thick, so you really need to go slowly depending on the machine that you have to enclose it all, and that's why it was important earlier to trim off the seam allowance. Then pop the poo bags in, feed it through the little hole, and check this out. What a cute little